Hello there, today I thought I'd try a tube swap, or valve swap because I'm in the UK. So, this is my orange Microterra, little bugger here. It's got the little stock tube in it. I think it's a JJ, I'm not quite sure. So, this is my PRS Tremonti single cut. The pickups are SE 245s. So the SE version of 245 pickups, they're from a Zach Myers. So I'm going to go through a few sounds. I've got the EQ straight up. The gain is about 1 o'clock-ish. Go through a few chords on clean and then crank up the gain a little bit. And then I'll change the tube and just see if it sounds any different. So, let's get to it. Gain down, volume up, more clean. Right, so there we go. That's a few of the sounds. Let's go to high gain next, actually. So the gain's up to about quarter of the way, 3/4 of the way up, so about 3 o'clock. That's the stock tube. Let's go swap them over. Okay then, so that's the few sounds with the stock tubes in the Microterra, or tube as it were, there's only one. You can see it through the back here. Just there, can you see it? A little nipple on top. Now I know that's a 12AX7, whatever that means. That's a model. That's a model of valve, or tube, or bulb, whatever you want to call it. One preamp tube, valve. I'm going to take all these little screws off around the outside, which takes the casing off the top, and then it's just a case of putting in the new tube. So the new one I've got is an Electro Harmonics one, and I got this from carltone.co.uk because one of my friends used to run a band rehearsal room, and they did amp repairs, I think, and this is what he always used because they always test them, and he said this is what I want to buy because you know it's going to arrive, and you know it's going to be arrive in one piece, and it's going to be tested. So I've not used them before, I've never put it in, but that's what I'm using today. So I'm going to take the lid off the chassis, and then I'm going to see what we're dealing with. So I'll see you in a second. So there we go. That's the inside. Dusty. And you can see the red on it. It appears to be a JJ's. Nothing wrong with this. All the silver stuff seems to be intact, which is obvious because the valves are working and all that. So this is the actual amplifier. £99, something this small, 20 watts. It's quite impressive, really, isn't it? Anyway, let's unbox the tube. Ooh, my first unboxing video. Ooh. So there you go, it's an Electro Harmonix 12AX7. Can you see it? There you can. And I'm going to keep the old tube as a spare, because I know it works, and the new valve is going in. I feel like this might be slightly skipping in the slots. All these were done up quite tight, and I'm not going to say they were stripped, but they are a bit gnarled, and they were gnarled before I got to them. So they've just been sort of machine drilled in the factory, and it's all been machined together. And it's just a bit of a shame that the screws are a little bit chewed up. I mean, not massively, but a little bit. Ooh, the lid comes off. Oh, that's quite mucky. There's a lot of hot glue keeping stuff in place. Well, there you go. That's the innards. That's the amplifier. I think it's really cool. And now I'm gonna change the tube. So waggled it gently, and I've got it out. Finally, that was difficult. So on the bottom, there's a spot where there's only one pin missing. Can you see that? So it's like a crown with a missing bit. So it's fairly obvious what way it has to go in. There's that. I mean, it just took a lot of, honestly, just a lot of very gentle tugging, make sure I'm not gripping very hard at all, and it was trying to waggle from left to right, and it took a while because it's glass and my hands were slipping, but I'd rather be very careful and have a load of broken glass in my hand, because that ain't helping no one. So the old one's out. This is the Electro Harmonix, and you can see where there's one missing. There's birds outside. And it's going to go in just the same. There we go. It sort of waggles a bit as it goes in, but it is now touching. There you go. If I point with this, you can see. Where is it? I can't find it. There we go. There. There's no gap between the white and the valve, which is how it was beforehand. So I'm going to put this back together, put the bits back on it, and then we'll film another sound test with the same settings. So we've got 3 knobs: the volume, EQ, and gain. Gain's only one I really messed about with. This one is just for make sure the volume's the same, because as the gain goes up, the volume needs to go down. So anyway, let's get it back together and let's see if it sounds any different. Bye-bye! Okay, so the new valve is in. It's the Electro Harmonix 1. Let's turn it on and let's see if it's alright. If it works, how it sounds. Take a while to warm up, being a valve. There we go. So it's before it was, yeah, and that was 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock. quite beefy, quite meaty. It sounds... There was a fizziness that was there before. That doesn't sound like it's there at the moment. Or rather, it's a deeper fizz if it is there. More dynamic though. It feels a lot richer and warmer. Very slightly brighter. So much more Mastodon. The notes are a lot more spongy. It feels more like a valve amp and it sounds more like a valve amp. But it does have that. It does have an immediacy to the sound. Like I find with valve amps, or at least the ones I've tried, I find there's a bit of a sag to the sound. This one feels a bit more immediate, which might be due to the solid state output. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but that's maybe a reason. It definitely feels different, but it feels more valvy and it feels more like my JCM 2000 than it did before, which is quite interesting. So there you have it. That's the tube swap in a Motivator. The stock JJ tube versus Electro-Harmonix 12AX7. They're both 12AX7s. They're both the same model, just different manufacturers, and there are differences somehow. I think it's like capacitors. People say they're the same value, therefore it should be the same, but people swear blind they're not the same. So what I found was, compared to the stock tube, which I found quite compressed, maybe thin sounding, slightly muddy. I mean, it was quite thin, but a bit muddy. Kind of like an Epiphone versus Gibson pickup, if you know what I mean. There's a high outputness there to kind of compensate for the... I'm not going to use the word tone, but I already have. Tone. I found the new tube, even though it was perhaps maybe slightly less gainy, it sounded really, really big. So the effect was, it was really, you know, really full on full-on rock. If you want a mastodon sort of tone, the Motivator's gain stage is based on a big boy or valve, orange valve gain tone, and they've basically put it in there with the preamp to work it, and then they've put a solid state power section in there. So if you want something like that, that's the way to go. I mean, it's great. It's a great little practice tool. If you want something classic rock, it can do that as well. I mean, Orange have their own sound, but I think experimenting with valves, especially with a cheap amp like this, or maybe the Micro Dark Terror, I've been looking into getting one of those at some point, so I can shoot them out. So I think it's a great option for 99 quid. I mean, come on. Look at it. Look at his little thing. Cute little thing. 99 quid. New. God. 20 watts. Is it enough to gig with? Probably a small gig. I do think the valve has made a big difference to the sound. I have an inkling it's perhaps louder. I'm not really sure though, because again, with solid state output, the volume doesn't affect the tone. It's just loudness. So I can't really say for sure how it's affected the volume. There are YouTube videos and people who have said that I put this valve in and it made it louder or cleaner or chimier or whatever. But this is what I've tried. This is what happened using the same settings as close as I damn well could. So let me know what you think. I think it's really improved the sound. And do you know what? Valves really aren't expensive. I was really surprised. They're really not expensive and they're not that difficult to change. Although, definitely look up a load of videos on how to do it before you get started. This is my first ever attempt at a valve swap. So, it went alright for me, but you know, be safe. So, there you have it. JJ versus Electro Harmonics in an Orange Micro Terror. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. You can like, subscribe, all that rubbish. My name's Al. I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye!